Welcome, 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 everyone, to Beyond Boardroom Business. I am so excited. I have an amazing trailblazer that's here. She's a behavioral therapist and has a lot more to talk about. And I'm going to allow her to mention everything that she has going on. So, without further ado, again, I'm your host, Coach Stephanie. But I'm just so excited about bringing on my next guest. So without further ado, let me bring on the one and only Miss DeNiece Freeman. How are you tonight, ma'am?
Good evening, Coach Stephanie. I'm doing well. Thank you for having me.
Oh, of course, of course. I mean, the person that referred you, Her Excellency Shantae Lene. I mean, she's just amazing as well. And she said, you have to get DeNiece on. And I said,
Oh.
I definitely do, especially after reading your bio. So tell us, who is DeNiece Freeman?
Well, thank you again. I appreciate Queen Shantae Lene. Shout outs to Queen for setting
Yes,
up for us. She's awesome. I
yes.
am a behavioral therapist by trade, and I am also the new executive director for the Center for Truth and Healing nonprofit organization here in Stonecrest, Georgia.
Oh,
Well, Stone
wow.
Mountain, actually. Stonecrest, we decal it.
Yeah, right. Okay, awesome. So, what do you do there at the Center for Truth Healing?
So right now we are transitioning our mission just a tiny tad. Queen Shantae has been definitely very pivotal with community outreach and doing financial outreach and just bridging the gap within the community. And now what I'm planning to do is kind of take it to the next level,
Okay.
doubling down on focusing on communities, working on mindsets and healing our community so that we have more family dynamics, healing our children, having resilient kids, teaching
Yes.
them how to, make wise decisions, try to instill some, heritage into them, healthy living, financial education. So just really pouring into our families and just healing the lack mindset and trying to assist families and then teaching the children how to thrive, how to be sustainable, how to be loving, how to be compassionate towards one another. So that
Wow.
is where I'm taking the Center for Truth and Healing, just enhancing it so we can heal each
That's that's huge, and that's really incredible because it's so needed. So, thank you for that.
other. Thank you.
And I just want to know what inspired you to get into the field of behavior science, and what you do. Who made you you?
Well, who made me me? Well, I will say New York City made me. I'm
Yeah.
from Brooklyn, New York, so I
Okay.
relocated here to Georgia a little under 2 years now. In July will be 2 years for me, so I'm still pretty fresh.
Yeah.
But I come from a West Indian background, so my parents are Guyanese, and just from a really hardworking family. And in growing up in New York City, it's always like movers and shakers in the city. And I've always had a compassion for helping people who just needed a helping hand. I wanted to be a doctor when I was really young. I wanted to be a pediatrician. So working with children was always something I wanted to do. I was a babysitter at like 10 years old, when my first nephew was born. So it's just been a part of who I am, helping somebody who didn't really have a voice for themselves. So through that, just kind of figuring things out. My first real job was a tutor at the library, where I was tutoring adults in the literacy section how
Wow.
to write. And then that kind of just spiraled into me really
Yeah.
having a passion for teaching and helping people who don't who just don't have the means or don't have the knowledge. So from
Wow.
that I kind of went to college, and in college I was like, okay, I still want to be a doctor, but it was just not my thing, unfortunately. I was
Mm,
like kid, I know a great chemistry teacher today, but she wasn't around when I needed her. So, unfortunately it didn't work out. But realized that I still had this need and desire to just help folks. And I wanted it to be in some kind of medical fashion. I was like, if chemistry was the only hiccup, then I had to find another avenue.
wow.
And then I actually started working in a juvenile detention center when I became a mom. So I started working there as like an intermediate counselor, just working with the kids. That was very trying on my soul. I can tell you that, because working in
Yeah.
a juvenile detention center was, the children range from 12 to 18. And that was a lot.
Yeah.
And through there, I wanted to just kind of dig deeper into assisting the mindset. From there, I actually became a behavioral therapist, leaving the juvenile detention center. I went through, did the coursework to become the therapist. It wasn't a whole lot of extra work though on top of what I already had. And
Oh,
I began working in special needs schools.
wow.
So I worked in schools for about 5 years as a assistant teacher at first, but I still had my behavioral therapist, license.
Okay.
So that I'm from New York, so I had two jobs. So in the day, in the daytime, I would work in the school, assisting in the classroom as an assistant teacher, and in the evenings, I would go into the home and provide therapy for, whoever I was on my caseload at the time. And then I pretty much stayed in that, in that kind of era for some time. And then bounced around the field in different jobs, but still helping people with special
Yeah.
needs or with, Down syndrome or autism. And it just
Yeah.
really, so now it's been a decade. So
Wow.
just like that,
Time
10 years.
flies.
And here we are. And I still really am passionate about that and helping people. And I do feel like I found my purpose when it comes to that.
Yes, I really commend you on that. I as well taught yoga to the juvenile centers throughout the state of Georgia, to all of the female juvenile centers, because I'm also a certified master trainer. So just teaching them about themselves, their bodies. And I also was teaching them how to write a book, because I figure they've gone through something traumatic, unfortunately, and
Yeah.
they need to write. Writing is therapeutic, and I too, I just love helping. So it I feel you. I really appreciate that. You know, society needs people like us,
Right.
because it takes a lot, as you mentioned. It takes a
Yes.
lot to mentally to just get through it. Knowing, I mean, I recall when I was there at one of the centers, and they were singing "Happy Birthday" to someone that was just turning 12, I think, or maybe 13, and that really touched me, because it's like, wow, this is her
Yeah.
life, this
Yeah.
age, you know, and just all the other people that just watching them, and I just wish that I could really touch each one of them mentally and inspire them. And so, how do you keep work at work and not take it home?
Well, it's impossible. Let's just say that.
Yeah,
It is
that's good.
actually impossible. I've learned how to not take the emotional part, but I'll be honest, the kids are that I work with, especially now that I'm back with young kids, because I've worked with people on the spectrum and with disabilities from 2 to 90. So
Oh,
I've had a little experience with almost everybody. I'm
wow.
back now with the little goobers, because I kind of like the EI age range. It's really fun seeing them. They grow so much in a year. It's great.
Yeah.
But knowing that I'm here to help, like focusing on that, that's pretty much what's kept me in here. Um, so I don't know. It's like, how do I put this? I feel like if I'm staying in the field, there's one less person that will abuse somebody in here.
Wow.
And that's one of the biggest things that has kept me in the field for so long. Even
Oh,
though plenty of days when I wanted to quit. And that's why there's no real separation for me, because I'm very compassionately. Once we are cool, once we are locked in, that's my baby too now. Like that is who, like that's my son, that's my daughter.
that's
So
true.
it's family, and I hurt when I have to leave a kid, especially if it's abruptly sometimes due to their family circumstances. It hurts me, like I do everything to stay on a case or to stay with a child, because I know how transitions can affect their development. So it actually hurts me. It's even to the point where my daughter, who's 11 years old, she's so accustomed to being around and actually coming with me to cases and these
Oh,
kids interacting with them. So she's very aware of
wow.
behavioral therapy and the spectrum and cues to look for with people and how to
Mm.
spot somebody who might need assistance in a different way. She's gotten really good at that. So
Wow, that's awesome. So
yeah, I
you're
mean, she's a kid,
helping.
so it still annoys her from time to time, but she's
Yeah,
gotten much better.
but she will definitely remember this. You know, you're giving
Absolutely.
her a skill at 11. That's beautiful. And you mentioned that you work with autistic the youth or adults.
I have
Um,
worked with everybody. Currently, I'm working with early intervention, so EI. You might have heard me say that. So
okay.
that's like the 2 to 5 age range right now. But I've worked with everybody. I'm not scared of any. My before that, my client was 11. Before that, my client was 21. You know, I
Hmm. Okay.
had 7-year-old clients. So I've had everybody in between.
Okay.
So yeah, I like the little babies though, because they're
I
sweet.
know. I
They're
know. And they were so innocent.
Yeah, you just gotta watch out for their sneezes and coughs because they're not very good at covering their mouths and hands.
Yes.
So as long as you have some Lysol or some sanitizer or something close by.
Yeah, the spray. Yeah. So, is there any underlining similarities with all of the spectrums and all of the different things that you manage? You.
Um, everybody is different, right? So it's true for them as well, as far as where they fall on the spectrum and how they react to different um services that I'll provide. So different modalities of work that I'm doing with them. But patience is the one thing that no matter who you're dealing with, patience is the thing that is straight throughout. You have to be patient. You have to give them time. And
That's
that's benefited me in personal life as well because I had to learn how to slow down and just be more patient
yeah.
and give people around me a little bit more time, just having more forgiveness, and
Yeah.
like just giving them a little bit more time because we can all be a little short sometimes when, you get frustrated or you want something to
Yeah.
happen right now and we don't know where everybody might be. So just learning how to have that patience, that has been the biggest lesson for me
Wow.
with this whole
Now,
thing.
now you mentioned you're from New York. How
Yes.
was it growing up, being raised up there? Do you feel the difference coming down south now from being
Woo.
up north?
1,000. I feel the difference. um,
Yeah,
the slowing down for sure
yeah,
because
yeah.
I still haven't fully slowed down because I'm very accustomed to the quick pace of we getting it done, we're getting it done, we're getting
That's
it done.
true. That's
Um,
true.
Raising your anxiety levels. So I do appreciate coming down here and kind of slowing it down. Sad. It still frustrates me from time to time, like, oh man, why would they moving so slow? Come on, let's do it. But I recognize the importance of slowing down and taking your time. And I very much appreciate Georgia for providing that balance for me. Because I would never complain about growing up in New York. I love New York still. It's still home. I had a great time growing up in New York City. I don't have horrible stories about growing up in New York City.
Yeah.
I can't say it was always the best time, I did see adversity and things like that, but I grew up in a fairly good environment. I had a house, my parents were there. So we had I grew up middle class in New York City. And a
Okay.
lot of people when they talk about New York, they talk about like the slums. So my
Right, right.
experience automatically is different because most people just talk about the downsides of New York. They don't talk about the great fine dining that we have, all the parks that we have, all of the activities that you can get into, swimming, exercise things, plays, Broadway, just theater,
Yes.
experiencing people, the different, like you can go to different parts of the cities and get a different feel. You could be in Harlem and get Spanish Town, or you could be in Chinatown, you could be in Brooklyn, where I'm from,
Yeah.
and the West Indies and the West Indian Day Parade. Like there's so much culture and fun in
Mhm.
New York City, and
Mhm.
I don't like that people try to only say it's dirty. I mean, it is, but
Right. In
I like,
places, not everywhere.
right, like everywhere you go, it has its pluses and negatives. So I love New
Exactly.
York. It's just, I
That's
wish it
good.
was.
And
That.
I'm from Chicago, so I first of all I love New York. Every time I visit there, I love it. And from New York, from Chicago, coming down to Atlanta, I know exactly what you mean about how it slowed down my
Hmm.
perspective. And it is interesting to see. And I remember going to restaurants, and at first I couldn't really understand the Southern drawl, but now, I've been here for a minute now, so I totally understand it. But yeah, I love being in the South. I appreciate the benefits of the warm air
Oh,
and
yeah, man.
everything that comes with
Whew.
it.
It's still
Yes,
cold up in Chicago and New York right now, so I'm
man.
not used to that.
Yeah, that's wild. That's wild. So tell me more about what you do with Truth and Healing Center.
So right now we are putting together some senior initiatives, so some senior activities like bowling. We have senior prom coming up, Mother's Day brunch. So those things are coming up between this month and in May. And then in the summer we have a few more 55 and up initiatives. We really love the seniors, and we kind of want to make sure that we're engaging all generations and just having a good time, keeping them active, keeping their minds sharp, and keeping them, doing their thing. And then I just became a parent facilitator for a parent training program through something called Resilient Kids. So we are looking to incorporate their program into our programming list for families. It's a
Wonderful.
really great program for assisting parents with mindset when it comes to how they're handling their children. Um,
Right.
Sometimes we can be a little aggressive or even passive aggressive with our kids, and we might not have a community to assist us with even the woes as parents. So I really like that program because it kind of really shines a light on talking about parenting and where you are and being open and vulnerable about your experience as a parent and how do we help heal that so that you can provide the best care and love to your own children. And then on
I
the
love
flip and then on the flip side, we're putting together a youth leadership program to assist the kids with learning how to have
yes.
social emotional learning and learning about small financial basics and anger management and emotional regulation and just understanding what leadership is and how to be involved in school and community. So I want to tackle them both at the same time. I want, like, instead of parents dropping the kids off, like, okay, I'm dropping off,
Mhm.
Michael for the event today. It's like, no, mom, your seat's on the other side.
Wonderful. Yeah,
Like,
that's
so I
beautiful.
want to be able to talk to the whole family so that when they both leave, they have something to talk about at the table or in the car or whatever, so that they can start having new conversations.
Yeah.
So that's what's coming very soon. So we're in the planning process right now, putting all of that together, but it's coming together. We're updating a few things, but it's coming together very nicely. So I'm
And
excited.
and I love that because one, there's not a book on how to parent specifically, especially this generation right now, especially
Mm.
our people. And it's really needed. So I really commend you on that,
Yeah,
on being willing to
thank you.
teach because it does take a village. And a lot of parents, what I've learned when I worked in the courts, in the courtroom, this is a lot of through the juveniles, is that it's a lot of children having children. And they
Yeah.
just don't know. It's this lack of knowledge. And so for you all to bring us, I'm a part of it as well, for us
Absolutely.
to bring the community together and to help them. I really hope that these parents can take advantage of it and they're not too busy.
All
And
right.
you know what I mean? Because that's the biggest thing that they have to work or they're busy doing something else that they can't be involved with their children because a lot of PTA meetings at schools. There's not a lot of parents, unfortunately, there. So I am so glad for that. And then another thing I wanted to mention is when you mentioned about working with the senior citizens, I think that is wonderful because I was literally in a conversation yesterday about senior citizens. And we were talking about how when they created Social Security, right? SSI, that's when people were retiring at 55 and living till around 66 or 70. But
Yeah.
now senior citizens are living to 100 years old,
Yeah.
and they anticipate going to 130 in a couple of years. And they didn't necessarily prepare for that. Uh,
Absolutely.
and then now we have a lot of seniors that don't have anything to do because there's nothing out there for them. So this is really great that we are all putting this together. And I want to definitely my part with the Center for Truth and Healing is being an advocate for helping people write books. But I
Mhm.
love what you're doing for the center as well. And it takes a village. And so,
Absolutely.
yeah, so thank you for that. So, how is it being a mom with everything else you're doing? How are you able to balance that out?
Whew. Oh man, it has not been an easy feat whatsoever. My daughter is in those preteen years,
Yes. Woo.
getting very sassy, and I'm
Oh,
trying to, you know, do my deep breathing and my meditations.
it's so needed. Yes.
Stay emotionally regulated to deal with some of her changes. I, I have a wonderful man in my life who is
Good.
a coach, and he primarily
Oh,
with children and emotional regulation and things like that. So we'll be in the room, and he's like helping me, and I'm like okay, woosah, so that I can kind of take that over to her. But she's a great kid overall. She's an artist. She's in theater. She's in art.
oh, I love
She
it.
does really great. She's doing well in school. She plays violin. She wants to do archery now. She used to swim. So she's very accomplished, but all of that
Yes.
also comes with a little set. Um, so being able to tap in and know like what she's into, like Gotcha Club and Hamilton and Epic the musical and all these other things that she's into that I have no idea what some of them are. I'm just like, okay.
Right.
Um so I try to involve her as much as possible in what I'm doing so that
Yeah.
way we're also spending time learning
Yes.
something, So like I told you, I brought her to work with me several times. When I worked in the clinic for a little bit of time, I brought her to the clinic and I was working with my client and I turned around and she got 5 kids and they're playing hopscotch and she's
Oh,
showing them how to read words. I'm like,
I
oh,
love it. Oh,
leading a whole group. I didn't even know. And they're listening to her, So I'm like, oh,
yes. That's
so
the makings of a leader.
right. So I'm working on it and like I said, I try to just incorporate her as much as possible in the day to day. As much as she can kind of sit and be earshot of it, I let her do that and so that way she's not completely detached.
Oh,
But right now she's doing chores, I hope.
right. Gotta follow up.
Right. So
Wow.
yeah, but I love she's my only daughter.
Okay.
So I appreciate our relationship, and even though she's trying to have that little attitude, she's still the one, and I would not replace her for anything in the
I
world.
know. Do you see your personality in her, or she's just
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That same sass and that same like I'm gonna do it mentality that she has,
yes?
100% me,
Wow.
because I was definitely a tenacious kid. I was on a roll. I was in several
Oh,
clubs. I had a job. So I was like, I'm doing it. Nobody's telling me anything. It's
yeah.
getting done. And
Yeah.
she kind of has that, but it's frustrating because it's like, no, we got to do this. She's like, no, I'm doing this. And I realized I was like that too
Yeah.
as a
Yeah.
as my mom remember telling me, she was like, you were not, I tried to tell you you should stay in certain things, and you were like, nope, mommy, I'm doing it. And you joined a different club and you did something. I was like, okay, I can see where that might have been frustrating. So,
So, so why do you say that this is a very pivotal time point in her life? What is it about the pre-adolescence phase for the youth that makes it so imperative that parents be involved?
I think it's really when it comes to decision making, because
Mm,
I see that they can be, if they don't have the right influence around them,
yes,
their
yeah,
decision making could be terrible. The
yeah,
kid who decides to eat some random food from their friend versus the one who's saying, well, where'd you get that from? Wait a second, I'm not sure. Like,
yeah,
just take a second to stop and think, and then do something, understanding that there are natural consequences in life if you don't take those moments to stop and think and pay attention. And if they don't have people around them that are able to do that for them, or even let them know, like, hey, there's another way, or
yes,
just know that you can be safe somewhere else, then I think that parents really have to pay attention to that and play a role with that, the decision making, because these kids are very addicted to technology in some of the wrong ways, unfortunately. And
yeah,
I'm addicted in the right ways. So I feel
right,
like that takes more community. But we're so busy as parents nowadays, where everybody's struggling to pay bills. So it's like,
yeah,
it's it's not easy, and I can even say that for myself, like, it's tough sometimes,
yeah,
with
yeah,
things changing so frequently in our lives. But
yes,
having them close, I feel, is definitely the best thing. Having them close, knowing what they like, playing the games, talking to them, and
yeah.
assisting with clear
That's
thoughts.
so. Is there a thin line between being their friend and being their parent?
Whew. um my man tells me I like to be the enforcer and the advocate.
Yeah,
Like,
you got to
it's,
be both
it's really
sometimes.
hard. He was like, it's hard. You can't be a hard enforcer and an advocate at the same time when you feel bad. So that line is a tightrope for me. Um, but I do feel like you finding balance is where I'm at. Just working on finding the balance to kind of do that. But yeah, it is definitely a fine line, because you don't want to be too much, too over the top where you push them away, but you want to create boundaries, I guess, would be the easiest way to put it, creating some strong enough boundaries while still giving them enough love and play to know that it's okay to laugh and smile.
Wow, that's a great answer. Now, how do you, DeNiece, how do you balance your work schedule and your relaxation? Do you set a schedule for this? How do you prevent burnout?
I don't have an exact set schedule for that, but I do prioritize self care. I like to go to the spa. I love a sauna, so if I can get to the sauna, I'll go sit in the sauna.
Yeah,
Sometimes I'll just sit outside. I like to go for walks. So if, let's say, I can't make it to the sauna or something, I'll go for a walk in the park. I really like to sit near water, so a river or just a lake, something of that sort. I'll go to the river and just kind of sit and just sit sometimes, just be with my thoughts. Sometimes I'm not thinking about anything much, just kind of taking in the water and the birds and the sun and the air.
yeah.
Um, Music, I love
Mhm.
music. And if I could squeeze a nap in sometimes, I'll
Yeah,
definitely do that too. That hardly
man.
ever happens though, but it's always wishful thinking.
Right. It is important about being in the present moment
Yes.
because we are so busy and so preoccupied with work that we're either thinking about the past or thinking about the future and not focusing on where we are in the moment.
Absolutely.
So that is very good that you take time out to take time out.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Especially as a leader, because you are about to do some very special things at that center.
Thank
And
you.
I appreciate you stepping up and taking the calling for it, you
Thank you.
know?
I So it definitely, it came to me. It was the way I met Queen Shantae was definitely an interesting manner, but I appreciate it. I'm so happy that I was able to recognize an opportunity and move forward.
Wow. And I would love to just get to know you more as well as our community continues to grow, you know.
Yes.
So, is there anything that you would like to leave the listeners on your perspective of life or anything you would like to share?
I guess I would like to share, let's love a little bit more and let's have some more forgiveness for ourselves and each other as we move forward with whatever is coming for us.
That's true. That's true. A little more love. That's a good one. That is so needed that people forget about, but it
Yeah.
is so necessary. So I appreciate you. Now, how can people find you?
Well, I'm on Instagram. I just got a new page. It is the Mosaic Effect. So the dot mosaic dot effect. You can find me there where I'll be posting things for the Center for Truth and Healing and my upcoming autism consulting business that is coming soon, where I'll be
Wow.
making connections with the autism community through the Center for Truth and Healing. And you can also look us up at truthandhealing.org, where you'll be able to find our programs and anybody who would love to donate to the cause, please do so because we're always looking for donors, small monthly donors or even large donors, anything that will help the community and help us push forward with these programs to get everybody kind of going. So we all need a little help out here, and that's what I would love to share.
I love it. Well, thank you. I really enjoyed this time with you, and
Thank
I would
you.
love for you to come back and share
Definitely.
what's going on in your world. Is that
I
cool?
would. Yes, ma'am. Thank you so much.
All right. Thank you. Okay, everyone, I know you enjoyed this episode. She's such an amazing woman and just so inspirational. And I mean, we just need someone like her in every community, right? I mean, please make sure you reach out and go to the website truthandhealing.org. So make sure that if you know anyone that is in need of a therapist, a behavioral therapist, someone that wants to be involved in the community, make sure you reach out to her. And again, I want to thank you all for being a part of this podcast, which is called Beyond Boardroom Business. And again, I'm your host, Coach Stephanie, and I am here every Thursday night, 7 p.m. live. And until the next time I see you all, I would love for you all to stay powerful, stay present, and stay purposeful. Thank you so much. Enjoy you all and see you next week. Peace.